Okay, my name is Alex Gordon. I'm an actor, I'm an author. Run a Google search, Alex Gordon, Australian author. There you'll find my work, my credentials, whatever. In the words of a very famous actress who just left us, whose name I completely forget, never tell a man to grow a set of balls. They are sensitive and dangly. Tell him to grow a vagina. They can take a pounding. Right. The Hell of a Boss series. Now, I want to give you a full production, provide all the evidence of what I've been able to find, but I want you to do this yourself. I'll tell you where everything is. And the reason why I want you to re-go over this series is because VisiPop plainly needs the cash to continue to make these episodes. Each episode of Hell's a Boss is upwards of $3,000 a minute. It is expensive, alright? And it's because of people like you that support VisiPop, she's able to make these series. So I'm here to crack open what actually Hell's a Boss is and the story itself. It took all of my skill as a former investigator with 10 in the private security industry with over 10 years experience doing that, and a little bit from me being an actor and an author and filling in the blanks. So we're going to start off with what the actual series is. So if you notice on the thumbnail, you would have seen Stolas on a notice board behind Blitzo's chair. His chair is actually hiding the actual story of Hell's a Boss. And to you, VisiPop, having all of us chickens, all of our meth-addicted chickens running around trying to figure out what this is, that chair's hiding it. That's being nasty and that's not fair. Not nice. So, what is Hell of a Boss? Okay, this is going to take a bit of explaining. IMP is a front company Blitzo started to get close to Stolas to gather information. At first, he offered his services to rise to the living world and act as an assassin on the behalf of Stolas in exchange for his grimoire. When Blitzo realized that Stolas could move through both his realm and the living realm, as we saw in the Truth Seekers, as Stolas demonstrated his power by moving through both worlds without his grimoire, Blitzo quickly figured out that Stolas has been in a loveless, sexless marriage for years. So Blitzo used seduction and got into his knickers. Now he has Stolas under his thumb. Why would Blitzo do this? So what is he investigating? And this is where the theory starts. Blitzo is investigating either the murder or the disappearance of his mother and his sister. So if you look right at the end in episode 7, part 1, you'll see that Blitzo and his sister Barbed Wire share the same birthmark on their forehead. And if you look in Truth Seekers, in that whole opera scene where they're taking the piss out of Disney, you'll notice that there's a love heart instead of a birthmark, and it's split in half. Okay, twins have a special relationship in the real life And that relationship means that when one dies, it can be almost like losing a limb. So that to me is the first indication that that this theory holds some weight. The second part of the theory about his mother, and the reason why it holds weight, if you look on episode 7, part 1, right at the end, you'll see the skull amulet and the same skull amulet that Blitzo has. They're both one of the same, but that's not the key indicator about why I believe that is. So if you look on episode 2, where Blitzo is about to nail the mother with his rifle and Moxie stops it, you'll see in that frame, just as that mother is looking shocked, you'll see a wheelchair, an urn, and in front of it is a plate of food. So that means that these people are having trouble of letting go of their deceased loved ones, so they care enough to put a plate of food out for them. Now the mother, in this case, Blitzo says, I'm going to ruin a family by killing a mother. That harpers back to there is a very faint link between those words, this wheelchair and urn, and the possible death or disappearance of his mother. I'm leaning towards death. Okay, the other part of this evidence is in episode 2. Now, just as Blitzo slams his coffee cup down, you'll notice in the background, framed on the wall, are 3 playing cards. Each of one of those playing cards are stained in blood and they are torn. So that's evidence of a crime that was commissioned or that had been commissioned. Also behind him is a bunch load of paperwork, and off to one side of paperwork that he's yet to go through while he's continuing his investigation into the death or disappearance of his mother and sister. Oh, this is absolutely long and complicated. So that, and how I know IMP is a scam company, if you go to the spring break episode when Tex and Verosika Main Day and Blitz are all together, on that wall, if you slow it down slow, you'll see IMP emblazoned on the wall is a scam. Okay? So that's one part of it. The one thing that I don't understand about the series, and I still don't know what she means or what Visipop means by it. Just in episode 1, after the fire's put out, obviously you see the billboard. It's a bunch load of gibberish. There are 2 words which are not gibberish, and I don't know what they mean. So you got goat and right, as in R-I-T-E, as in religious right. I haven't yet figured out the connection or why they're important. I don't even know why the grimoire is important, but I know it's important. So now we look at the hidden hand. So if you notice on Cherubs, when Loopty all of a sudden explodes in and obviously gets Blitzo commissioned into committing the murder of his friend, you'll notice there's a couple of things that don't make sense. Number one, when he said that he'd done experimentation on the poor but never killed anyone, he shouldn't be in the wrath emotion or the wrath ring. He should be in the greed emotion or the greed ring. And he just literally died moments ago, so how would he know how to go directly to Blitzo and the IMP office? when he just died. There's more. So as obviously the cherubs go along, and there's the big opera scene, and you got the opera singer doing whatever, Millie, Blitzo and Moxie are all fighting the angels, and obviously to save the old man's life. If you notice that when the old man sees the piano coming for him, he obviously screams and dives into the seats behind him. You'll see the piano shift and fall directly on top of him. It went against physics. It was going to go directly onto the bed where he was laying, and then it moved over onto him. Now, the thing that okay, right at the end of episode 7, you'll notice as Blitzo's walking up to Luna, his daughter's door, if you freeze the frame, you'll notice every single photo that he has, he scribbled his face out. That is very powerful psychology there. That means that he cannot stand his own reflection. So the question is, what did Blitzo do? Was he complicit in some way in the murder of his own mother and sister? Or was he powerless to stop it from happening? It'd be interesting to see what actually happens in the next part of Hell of a Boss. If you want me to remake this video again and actually show you where all this evidence is, I'm happy to do it. Prove me wrong. After all, it is just a theory.